5,000 years ago, the vast majority of humanity lived in scattered hunter-gatherer tribes, sheltering in forests and relying on daily foraging to survive. But deep beneath the sands of the Indian subcontinent lay the remains of a society that defied the timeline of early human history. This is Mohenjo-daro, a metropolis built from perfectly baked bricks. Its citizens lived in two-story homes, navigated along strictly gridded streets, and utilized the world's very first flush toilet systems. Yet, as archaeologists cleared away the dirt, they noticed what was missing. There were no royal palaces, no towering temples to ruling gods, and no weapons of war. How does an organized empire spanning 1 million square kilometers vanish, and where did its millions of citizens go? These ruins stand as a physical record of human capability, and a reminder that even the most organized systems leave only dust behind once they fail. This map shows the ancient world around 3300 BCE. The territory of the Indus Valley Civilization rapidly expanded, eventually dwarfing the geographic footprints of both Egypt and Mesopotamia combined, all while maintaining superior urban hygiene. At the center of Mohenjo-daro sits the Great Bath. Look at the complex brickwork of this central pool. To make it watertight, engineers layered the walls with naturally occurring bitumen, demonstrating a grasp of material science that was thousands of years ahead of its time. Further north in Harappa, the same engineering precision was applied to survival. These excavated rectangular foundations supported massive granaries, specifically designed to catch prevailing winds and keep stored crops from spoiling. In the city of Dolavira, we see the scale of their resource management. This deep rectangular excavation site was part of an extensive water reservoir system, engineered to capture and store monsoon rains for an entire city. They built all of this without a standing army. Instead of stockpiling swords, they standardized their weights and measures to facilitate trade networks and spent their leisure time playing early versions of chess. Their strength was not found in the ability to destroy enemies, but in a deliberate, functional alliance with the natural world. Then, around 1900 BCE, the rhythm of these cities broke. Trade routes stalled, urban centers were slowly abandoned, and the Indus Valley fell silent. For decades, historians assumed invading armies had slaughtered the population, but the archaeological record shows no signs of battle, only the steady accumulation of dust over empty homes. Modern climate science points to a slower force. Over centuries, a shift in climate patterns pushed the seasonal monsoon rains eastward, moving the water away from the cities that depended on it. This shift directly impacted the region's lifeblood. Rivers like the Sarasvati and the mighty Indus, which once flowed steadily from the mountains, began to dry up or alter their courses, leaving once fertile valleys parched. Without consistent river water, the wind-cooled granaries emptied. As this cracked riverbed shows, the ecological collapse forced millions to abandon their homes and migrate in small groups toward the Ganges Basin as refugees. All of their grid streets and sanitary systems became useless the moment the environment could no longer support the population. We often look at ancient collapses as historical curiosities, assuming our modern societies are insulated from similar fates. But the people of the Indus Valley built their empire on the predictable behavior of rivers. Similarly, our modern civilization rests on the assumption that sea levels and rainfall patterns will remain within the margins our infrastructure was built to handle. Today, we continue to pollute water sources and ignore climate anomalies, trusting that our technology will allow us to bypass environmental limits indefinitely. If the brick walls and drainage systems of Mohenjo-daro were rendered obsolete by a shift in the monsoons, the steel and glass of New York is vulnerable to the same logic. Our cities are only as permanent as the weather patterns that sustain them. From Tokyo to London, massive populations are currently built into geographical areas where a slight change in sea level or rainfall would collapse the systems that provide food and water. However, the Indus Valley also proves that prosperity doesn't require a military engine. They organized 1 million square kilometers around commerce and sanitation, demonstrating that humans can build large-scale, peaceful societies. Innovation is necessary, but it cannot come at the expense of ecological balance. When nature changes its course, it leaves behind only ruins, regardless of how advanced the civilization was.